Hello and welcome to the challenge. I'm just enjoying a coffee because nothing says I've got to be able to start up in 5 days like starting after lunch and enjoying your coffee. There we go. What I'm going to do, I'm going to hide my pretty face because you probably don't really need to see it. It kind of looks a little bit like my YouTube avatar. Kind of. It's like my YouTube avatar if I had issues with my liver or kidneys, maybe. So I haven't even started anything. So Laravel new. That's how early on we are. I haven't even Laravel newed it yet. I can't. I think I did come up with a name. I made it into an SVG and everything. Like, I was super organized. Let's go to a new window, SVGs. Let's remind ourselves what it was called. Event Snap. Random name, I know, but that's what we're going to call it. Event Snap. We want Git. Because we've only got 5 days, I'm going to use Jetstream. Now, I usually wouldn't use Jetstream personally, but we're going to. And we are going to use Inertia because we want some fancy stuff. Yes, we will use Teams because we want that there for the future. We will want dark mode, of course. Now it's creating it. So I can, again, enjoy my coffee. I really hope my internet doesn't disappear like it did last time, because that was really annoying. If you didn't know I lived in Wales, then you now do, because you know that my internet disappears regularly. It's a Welsh thing, I think. So that is installing. It is almost there. So let's come over to PHP Storm, create a new project, and we are going to create one from here. It is going to be called Event Snap, create. Let's full screen it. And we can start. Yeah, well, I mean, you live in North Wales, Alex, so, you know, wrong pathway. I mean, I used to live in Cardiff. That was, I suppose the internet was more reliable in Cardiff, but, you know. Let's start with, we know we're going to want SQLite. You know, we want a local database that we can just kind of quickly and easily spin up. We'll start with that. Next, we're going to install Composer, require Launchpad. We're going to install. Okay, I need to come down to Composer JSON. We'll just update this first. Talk back to 2, not 21. And what we want is dev. I'm going to do a quick Composer update. Oh, that is amazing. That is a good connection. Let's install Launchpad again. That is installing. We're using dev main because why release versions when I'm not ready? Now we can just do a quick Composer bump. Do another quick update. And while that is updating, I'll do my usual kind of, I'm Steve, I am picky. Let's go get this done. JS, we've got view. That is all of our config. So we can now come here and format that one quickly. I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see what's going on. And what we're going to have, we are going to have a Veeam service running over here. We're going to have a local server running here. And we're going to have Artisan running here. PHP 21, where the code writes itself for you. No, not quite, Chris, almost. So first thing we need to do is we need to look at our users table here. So let's declare some strict types because that's what we do. We can do that. We're going to swap this to a ULID. primary. Let's just tidy all of this up. Current profile, current team. There's a current team. Do we have a teams table? Yes, we do. So we can fix that in a minute. Move this over to here. Oops. Timestamps at the bottom, as always. So instead of that, we're going to have a table foreign ULID for current team ID. This is nullable. We will want to index it. We should constrain it to the teams table. Actually, we can't do that yet, so we're going to ignore the constrained. But we will cascade on delete. Or actually, no, we should probably null on delete for this one, right? Null on delete. So if the team is deleted, we are good. So there's that. We got a remember token. All of the other stuff is typically okay for what I need. We just need to swap a couple of things around. I'm not going to worry about cleaning this one up or that or this or that. Teams table, we are going to swap this to a ULID again. Swap that to primary. Then we're going to grab this and bring this down here. This is going to be a foreign ULID. Going to be able to index. We're also going to want to, we will constrain this one because the table has been created. Constrained. Jesus, my bad. Cascade on delete. So the reason is, if a user deletes a team or a team is deleted, you don't want the user to disappear. But if a user is deleted, you do want their team to disappear. So it's kind of how you can organize the kind of cleanup operations, I guess. So there is that. Let's close all of those. Team user. This is where we're going to have to foreign ULID. On ULID, we are going to index, constrained, cascade. That. Ooh, I always press the wrong key on this keyboard. You'd think I would have gotten used to it by now, but you would be wrong. Hello, chat. Hello. Lots of people joining today. That's always good to see. Team invitations, team ID. We need to swap this to a foreign ULID as well. Again, we will index. I don't know why indexes aren't added by default. There's probably a reason. And sessions table, we're also going to have to swap this one as well. So a foreign ULID. So now we can close all of those, close all those tabs, come over to our factories, clean it up. We're not going to final class or declare strict types because we're going to automate that part. But we are going to come down here and we are going to go grab that and we're going to use the hash make where the value is password. All of that is good. Fantastic. This one will be a user factory. So good. We'll worry about tidying up code later when we get more time. The team itself. You're good. Nothing is needed there. So we can come over to our models. Come to our team here. So we can say use has ULIDs. User. Use has ULIDs. And now what we can do is we can compose a, let's have a look. What have we got? No, my bad. It's artisan that we need. We need let's set up PHP Stan. Oops. And we want to set up Laravel pipes. What else have we got going? notifications, migrations, making stuff, Launchpad stubs, get my own customer stubs. Oh, okay, I didn't actually test it. Directory doesn't exist. Okay, I need to fix that part of the package. I didn't test it at all. Okay, so what we will do is over here, we are going to quickly update any front-end dependencies that we might have. Let's run a server. While that is updating, let's go find Arc. Where are you? There you go. Let's just full screen you. Excellent. npm run dev. It's now running. We can come to here, open that in work. Database isn't there. That is fine. So now we can migrate. So 11 minutes in, we've got authentication up and running. We can log in. We can register. The usual Laravel stuff, right? Let's do this. I have a team. I am good. Yeah, I mean, I test a lot. I use static analysis a lot. But, you know, when you're flying by the seat of your pants trying to figure something out, you're wasting your time testing, right? You know, you're writing tests for things that you're likely going to change or delete. And this is why I don't do TDD. I like to do what I call TPD, which is test-proven development. In other words, once you know what you're going to do, write your tests. Until then, don't waste your time. Right, next, I need to go composer, require, dev, Nuno Maduro, Laristan. And let's go to our Notion plan. So what we're going to build is an event streaming platform. And by that, what I mean is anywhere in your application, you are going to have events that happen. Think something like Mixpanel or one of those sorts of applications where you just want to track things happening or have a transactional log somewhere. That's what we're going to be building. So we're going to have a user interface. It's going to be super clean and minimal. We're going to have a basic API where we're going to kind of capture events and insights. Data modeling, we're going to have a project, a channel, an event, and an insight. So I jotted down some ideas just so I could get started. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that, come over to, I don't actually need Warp anymore because I'm now in code mode. So I can come over here and let's come down to resources, JS, components, and let's create a logo.view, a basic template. Let's drop that in there and we're just going to keep that as is for now. So once we've logged in, and this isn't going to be like the prettiest solution ever, but it's going to be a solution. So let's come down to our application UI. And what we're going to have, we have a sidebar style layout. But what I want to do is organize the routing because I do routing my way, and that's the best way it makes sense for my mind. If it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. But that is kind of that. So let's come down to providers, broadcast service provider. Let's swap this to sockets and routes. So then when we come down to here, we can say new file, routes.php. Come to our channels, copy that into there, delete that, and that's all we need. So that can be deleted. Come to our console kernel, and we'll delete that. So that can then go. Close all of those. In our root service provider, we are going to have routes there and routes there. So I can grab that, drag it in, refactor that one, move that into there. Let's rename to roots. Come over to here. Refactor, rename, roots. So now we've got our routing sorted. We can start to look at what we're doing. So web roots, there's some strict types. We've got a dashboard and we've got our home page here. So what I want to do is, this is going to be the app. So let's just say middleware, and we pretty much want that. We're not going to worry about verified right now. That's something you add once you kind of know what you're doing. There's no point forcing people to verify their identity when you're trying to get new users, right? So let's group. We've got a nice function in here. And then we're going to go, right, you can move up there. And you can also move up there. Allow me to delete that one. So basically what I'm saying here is I want everything to be authenticated. This is the application side. I'd probably use something like astro.build or something else to build out a kind of a marketing site. So where's that? That initial part is done. We can worry about making that pretty later. Let's come back to actually looking at our UI. We want something clean and simple. So let's come down to home screen, something like this. Let's use view. What we can do is going to grab all of it. Let's make sure we've got Tailwind Forms installed. That is going to be important. Yeah, we've got forms and typography. That is great. Let's go add this stuff to our resources, views, app. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say dark mode. I want the background to be gray. When it's not dark mode, I want the background to be white. That is all good. I'd probably also add some default text colors, but I might do that on the body instead. I don't know why they recommend doing it on the HTML. That always confused me, if I'm honest. So that's hateful, that's fine. What I'm going to do, I'm going to say text gray 800. When it's dark, we're going to have text gray 100. So 800 and 100, that's your kind of your two different contrasts. That should all be good. Let's all make sure that things are formatted while we're here. Fantastic. Views, we can close, come over to here, come to layouts, and we can create our own application layout now. So if I grab all of this app layout, I'm going to ignore. I'm just creating a new one called application. And the reason I do that is because I like to have something to switch back to should I need to. So script setup. Then our template. In our template, we're going to do that. Then we can just grab all of that and drop it in at the top. Up in here. What we are going to need to do is npm install Heroicons and headless UI so that we can use Tailwind UI properly. That is all that. What I'll do now is come to pages, come to dashboard. I'm going to delete all of that. And I'm just going to say use application. Oh, no. Use the application. There we go. Got that. Fantastic. Come back to our login or our dashboard here, and we've got something. So we've got something that we can start with. The colors are completely off. That's fine. I expected that. So what we will do is, as template show, that's fine. That's transition route. I don't care about that. That's a static sidebar for desktop. Sticky search header. I'm not too bothered about that right now. I don't think that's an MVP feature, so I'll delete that. Open sidebar needs to stay. Here's main. Here's a header. Yes, no, kind of need it, kind of don't. Where is it? Deployments. No, we don't want that there. So we will just grab a header, the UL, grab all of that, grab that, delete, delete, drop the padding right, and we are going to just drop a slot in there. Oh, cheers, Mike. Yeah, to drop in periodically. This isn't, you know, something you have to stay tuned for. It's going to be a long ride. So that means we do not need activities. We do not need deployments or environments. Statuses. We keep the teams, navigation. We can start to clear up our first file. It's important to stay on top of this stuff while you're building it. Otherwise, you just trip over yourself, right? So there's that. What does it look like? Perfect. So let's fix our colors. Close that down. We've got all of this background black. Okay, so we'll do that on dark mode only. When it isn't dark mode, we are going to have a background of white, but we will still add that on there. Dark mode will add a ring of white, ring black 5. That's fine. Good. Here's the logo that we're going to need. So we could probably do something like a logo. Bass. H8 width auto. Drop that. Come down here. Anything else? Here's some navigation stuff. I'm not going to worry about that right now. Text gray. Okay, I'm going to delete all the text stuff because I'm keeping that consistent. Border gray 700. I won't worry about that. Text center, your profile. Okay, yeah, I'm not going to worry about that right now either. So come back to here. Logo's not showing, which is fine. Or if it is, it's hiding. Delete that. Logo. I thought logo was being used. Why is that not highlighting? Yeah. Oh well, not going to worry too much about that. So now we can just close all of that. Our dashboard. So what's important for our dashboard? Why am I using Vue.js and not React? Because I've used both. I've used Vue.js and I've used React. I've used Vue.js since Alpha RC1, like early days. Don't use in production. I was pushing it to production on a client site because it was better than what we had. I just like it. I'm more comfortable with it. It's going to allow me to actually achieve this. So that's the important thing. So at the minute, we can't really display much. We can't do much because, let's be honest, all I've got is a copy and pasted UI and a default Laravel. So we need to think about our modeling. So we're going to have projects, channels, events, and insights. First things first, let's make a model called project, and we are going to create a migration and a factory at the same time. So come down to database, migrations, projects table, delete that, and add those. This can be a ULID, table, foreign ULID for team ID. We want this to be indexed, constrained, and cascade on delete. So we're not tying things back to the user right now. We're going to tie everything to a team. So a project is going to have a name. And to be honest, I didn't know how much more we need on a project. At the minute, we just want a way to say we've got a project. It's that simple. So what I'm going to do is create enums. Enums projects. Create a new enum in here, and we're going to call this status. This will just be a nice simple string, case active, case inactive. Simple little way to do this. String status, the default is going to be status active value. Let's now just simplify that one. That's all we need right now. We need a name and a status. We have a project, who it belongs to from a kind of team perspective. That's it. That's all we care about at this stage. So we can come over to factories, project factory, delete that, add the model of project. Going to have the name, this faker. We're just going to give it a company name, nice and simple. Status, we're going to start this one off with active. What we'll do is we'll also create a quick helper function down here for while we're testing. Inactive. This is going to return a project factory. Return this state. The state is attributes. Status is going to be status active. There we go. Nice and simple. Final class. There we go. So there's a project. You can come over to here. Use has ULIDs. Available is going to be name, status, team ID. Reminds me on the project factory, I also need to add the team. Team factory. That's it. Here's the project. We can add our casts. We only need one cast right now, and that is for the status, and that is going to be for the enum. Click function team belongs to, turn this belongs to, related team, foreign key is team ID. Over to team, hook this one up. Public function projects has many, turn this has many. Related model is a project, and the foreign key is team ID. So a project is just a container at this point, to be honest. It's currently nothing. It's got a name and a status. Close all of those. So that is our project sorted. Next, we need a channel. So a project can have many channels. Over here. There's some script types. Just delete that, because it will bug me and I will forget. Channel has a ULID, which is the primary key, the ID. Right. Next is this belongs to add the foreign URL ID for the project. We will index it, say that it is constrained, and we will cascade on delete. So, channel, it needs a name. That's literally all a channel needs. So you can down here say name, this faker, faker. I'm going to add a sentence. Project ID, project factory. That is good. Over here and add the model for the channel. Whose has UL IDs, fillable, name, project, public function, project, belongs to, return, this belongs to project, key of project ID. So the idea, it is basically an event streaming platform. And by that, I mean things happen in your app, you want to log them. Think Mixpanel, but less front-end analytic-y style. Foreign key is project ID. So that is those two things set up. Factories are all done. What we will do is migrate all of that. That's great. Next step is the event itself. So make model event migration and factory, all good. Come down to our events table. So let's walk through what we want to capture. I have put some thoughts into this. Obviously, it will have, again, a UL ID, so it matches everything else. So an event is going to have a name, a description, should we notify anyone about this event, some tags, parser, more of a stretch goal, and any meta information. So table, string, name, the event, what happened, description of what happened. You can pass through a larger block of text for that one. The icon, so we can say table string icon for display purposes. Table boolean, notify, default will set to false. Table JSON tags. Haven't thought too much about this yet, so it's something that we're going to kind of play with, maybe tweak, come back to. And then we've got meta. So we're going to have tags and meta as two different JSON columns. Text, Boolean. I like to put JSON down here typically. We have tags, meta. This belongs to a table, foreign UL ID. This belongs to a channel, index, constrained cascade. So whenever an event happens, it has a name and an icon. You can pass some kind of descriptive text for it to say this happened because this blah blah blah. By default, should they be notified, you can kind of override that as you're calling it and say, yes, I'd like to send a notification on this one. Any tags, very free form, also very nullable. And then obviously meta currently will be nullable. Again, that is a stretch goal. Also, the parser, that's a future goal. We're going to keep that null to start with. That's so that if, like in a description, you pass through Markdown, you can format it. If you pass through something specific, you can slowly override these sorts of things as time goes on. Yeah, let's have a quick second to think about what we've done. In the meantime, I'm going to put on some background music quietly so it doesn't override my vocals for you. I've had people complain in the past about that side of it. You don't tune into a stream to be deafened by music. So let's come fill in our factory now. So what I like to do is keep that over here while I'm doing this, especially as the models get bigger. Come here, model, event. So we have a name, an icon, parser, description, notify, tags, meta, channel ID. That's everything. Cool. Close that down. So name. Well, this is just going to be this faker word, no, sentence, icon, this faker word for now. Parser is going to be null. Description we will just set to be a paragraph. Notify false. Tags is an empty array. Meta is going to be an empty array. And channel is just going to be a channel factory. That gets us started. So now we can come over to our event and start filling this in. Use has ULIDs, fillable properties for this are name, icon, parser, description, notify, tags, meta. Okay. So let's look at our casts. What can we cast at this point? So we've got notify, which is going to be a Boolean value. We've got tags, which is going to be as collection. Then we've got meta, which is going to be as array object. That's it for now. Eventually this will sort of like a custom meta, but for now, not a huge deal. The channel. This belongs to the channel. This belongs to type properly today, Steve. Channel class. Foreign key is channel ID. Maybe to our channel, and a channel has lots of events. Public function has no events, has many turn this as many related is event foreign key is channel ID. That is all good. Ludovic, thank you for joining, my buddy. So we got events, we got channels. That's kind of like our MVP part done almost. So what I'm going to do quickly is take a step back, come over to Composer, and we're going to get ourselves set up for writing good code. So we know we've got Laravel Pint, so we want to be able to run vendor bin Pint to make sure our code is, standard across the board. Got Laravel Stan installed, so we can go Stan vendor bin bon PHP Stan analyze, set the memory limit up to 3 gig. That's my kind of standard. We're going to have some tests eventually, not right now. So PHP artisan test. So that is our basic setup. What I can do is come to the controller here before it creates problems, and we're going to make this abstract. Never directly use it. So now we can just run Composer Pint. We should be good. Ta-da! Done. Cool. Ooh, not that. Clear that here. Fantastic. Close all of those. Come over here. Make sure we haven't broken anything by accident. So on the dashboard, I'm not sure what I'm going to display yet. I'll put some thought into that. But we've got these two other parts as well. We've got projects. We've got channels. I'm thinking down here is going to be channels. So what we will do is come over to handles inertia requests. We'll have a look at this. So this isn't actually being overridden, so we can remove. Same with the version. All we care about at this point is the share. So let's go and start creating this. Let's make sure things are working so far. View, dashboard, inertia. We don't seem to have Ziggy running properly. So what I'm going to quickly do is come to there, app, HTTP, middleware, handles inertia requests. I'm just going to grab this quickly. This is what we need. So handles inertia requests. That is what we need. We need to create this user resource. Ziggy will import. So make resource. We're going to make a web resource first. The user resource. So we know we're going to want a user resource. We also know we are going to want a team resource. We're going to want a project resource, a channel resource, and eventually we'll want to get around to an event resource. So this part, let's import that. Request user, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to load team channels or teams channels. So if we go over to the user model quickly, we've got, this has teams. We kind of want to get the current team. So instead of all teams, we're going to go current team channels so that we only ever get the logged in users team channels, where they currently are. The channels are model app team. Oh, projects, channels. There we go, we got it. So we've got auth user data. Currently nothing. Absolutely fine. So what we also going to want to do is come over to the app service provider in the boot method, JSON resource, without wrapping. It annoys me. I'm going to remove it, especially when we're building out front end stuff. All of that can go. So what we want is the user resource here. We can say that the user is the resource. And we can start to map this out. So it's got an ID, which will be this resource. I'll just use get key because kind of what you should do, I guess. Then we've got the user's name, this resource name. We'll drop the email in because we're going to need it. This resource email. When were they created? New date resource. That is in my Launchpad package. So the resource that we're going to pass through to that is this resource created at. That should all be good so far. Let's go back to our front end and see how it's looking. Dashboard, auth user created. All good, all good. Right. What else might we want? Two-factor, no. Email verified, no. We're going to want the profile photo URL. So we'll add that under like avatar, for example, because that's kind of what it is. This resource photo URL. Make sure that loads. Make sure it's giving us what we need. Yep, we are good. So we can start building that out nicely. What else do we want? Let's go have a look at our resources. Resources, we've done our user. Let's go do our team. Up here, we can just kind of go, it's not var, it's property read team resource. I wonder that wasn't working as I expected. Read, there we go. Okay, so our team, we're going to want the ID, this resource get key, name, and it. This resource name, personal. This resource like personal team. That's not what I wanted. I wanted this. Yeah, personal team. Good. What else is on there? Has URL IDs, name, personal team. That's it. So down here we can say teams, team resource, collect resource is this. Then loaded relationship teams. Actually, that's yeah. Then we're going to have a team up the top for the current team. So new team resource is this when loaded. Relationship is current team. And this team has many projects. Project resource collection. The resource is this when loaded. The relationship is projects. This is an event streaming platform for anyone just turning up. So think Mixpanel, but for the back end. That's the easiest way I'm going to explain it right now. Then we're going on to the project resource. So we're going to have property read project for the resource. Let's clear that up. Turn this into an array. E always needs to be passed. It's a shame you can't, like, it doesn't automatically do that sometimes, where you can't add a trait for it to say always include the ID. Okay, so this resource get key. I usually get key for the ID. Don't know why. Habit. Project. All that a project has is a name and a status. That's all that we care about right now. So name is this resource name. Status. This resource status, but we know it's an enum, so it's going to pass a value down automatically. Right, there's a project resource, and a project has many channels. It carries on, so we can now say channel resource collection. The resource that we're going to use is going to be this. When loaded, relationship for that is going to be channels. Perfect. Now we can come over the channel resource. The property read for this is a channel resource. Read that. Making lots of kind of, all of these resources are kind of inside each other eventually, but you know. Key. So a channel has a name, and that's all it really has. This resource name, and then it has lots of events. Event resource collection. The resource is this when loaded. Relationship to be events. Right, that is all of that. Now, final one. Property read event resource here. Come to this, say ID, this resource get key. Space will annoy me. So what do we want in this part? We want the name. This resource name, the icon. We kind of want most of it. This resource icon. But we will be coming back to refactor parts of this. We want the description to come back through. This resource description. Let's just do that quickly. Come over to here. The event, we've got description. Notify. This resource notify tags, this resource tags meta resource meta, and that's all we care about now. Perfect. So what I'm going to do is close all of the tabs, close them all off, make sure we've migrated. Yep, all of that's good. So next thing we want to do is tinker. We're going to say app, models, event, factory. Nope. No. App, project, factory, for app, models, team, first. We're going to create 3 projects. Great, that is all done. And next we can come and work on how we're going to display those. This is kind of like the team switcher for our application. I know one comes in by default in down here. Switch to team, that, but we're not using that. We're using this. So teams, what we want is come to here, inspect this, come to view. We should have an auth user which has a team object with a list of projects. So that's going to be our projects actually. So whatever current team we're on, this will show our projects maybe. How do we want that part to work actually? Let's take a second to think. Up here, we're not going to have much in terms of navigation. We're going to have the dashboard where we are. The way to log out, that's 2. And other than that, everything's going to be click-throughable. You know, the idea is, you know, other pages will have more details and less kind of clicks, but it's an MVP at the end of the day, right? So navigation, we're going to have our first one as dashboard. Keep that as folder. Teams. Or yeah, we'll go for teams. So const user equals use page, or ops auth user. That's what we want. Now we've got a user, teams there. Come to the other part for team in teams. For team in for project in user.team.projects. Project. It's frozen on me. Sorry, PHP Storm froze. So project.id. We're going to drop the href for now. Team.current. Okay, we'll go for like project dot status. I think it is. Status, or yeah, status is that. I'm just going to delete that. Let's just ignore all of that. I'm just going to have it like this. We don't want that first one. We want the second 2. We can delete Class team initial. This is like some weird circly thing, so we're just going to say for now name. Let's see if it loads. Ooh. href is missing its binding. Cool. Your teams on the mobile view only or something. Darr. Yeah, it is. Okay, so now we kind of need to do the same thing. Your teams, team in, project in, again, swap that project name, href, the binding of class stuff here. A lot of this UI is likely to change, but it's good to have somewhere to start. Delete that. href. Project start name. Let's swap that for project name as well. Now we can do it all from here. It's not displaying. Project. So we've got them going off there. That's good. Can I zoom in? I can. Do you want me to zoom in on zoom? That is that part. Here is this part. So this we will worry about. So we go for like user resource. Note we want the project resource. For each project, name, status, and channel. Oh, I don't really know what I want to do with this right now. When we click on these, we kind of want to go look at that project, right? Let's come. I do question whether I've picked the wrong UI right now, but we will figure it out. How do we want this to look? Yeah, I really have no idea how I want it to look right now. What we'll do is we'll be going for an hour. We've got a really simple UI. We've got our database set up. What we next want to do is, oh, you just published your first NPM package. Congratulations, dude. Let's sort out some routes. That sounds like a sensible thing to do, right? Sorting out some routes. Come over to web. What do we want? This part, I'm just going to ignore. Dashboard, you will ignore. We'll come back to those once it's maybe important. So first step we want to do is, let's go have a look at what routes we've got. We got those. Let's do a quick compare du and that. We don't want to exclude vendor actually, because that is where the Jetstream routes are coming from. So we've got user two-factor stuff going on, user profile information, confirming passwords, teams, lots of teams going on, teams create, registering, forgotten password, dashboard, current team. So we've got lots of kind of things that we need to hook up some UI for, but we need to think about the UI before we get too far ahead of ourselves. What I'd like to do is maybe projects. Projects could be a good idea. Project routes. Because at this point, we're already in a team. So we're going to prefix this with projects as projects. Group this You can use a base path, roots, web, projects.php. So now we just need to create this file. Projects in here. Projects. So root. We want the start. Import that one. We want to list our projects. Name is going to be index. We're going to stick to that standard. So it'll be kind of like the standard will be the resource action style. That's how I typically organize these. Then we're going to have a post. This is going to have a name of store roots. We'll leave it a day at that. We'll worry about editing and stuff after we've got things working. So the first one we want to make is like listing all of them. So A is an artisan alias, by the way, that I've got. So we're going to make a controller. It is going to be on the web. Projects, index controller. This will be invocable. And we're going to generate the tests for it now. So this is our index controller. Simplify that one. That's great. The next one is going to be our store controller. Store controller. And while we're there, we're going to make a request, web request for projects, and we're going to call that store request. So here we can say store controller, simplify that, come through to here. Don't need to extend the controller. So let's have a think. How do we want this to work nicely? So we need to get all projects for the logged in users team. So first thing we need to do is we need to get that user. So there's a couple of options for that. Private, read only. We can use like the auth guard. And get auth in this way. And at this point, we can just like dime dump on this auth. So then if I come over to here, let's just make that read only quickly. Projects. We have got the auth guard, which means that I can say auth guard user. I've got a user. That's great. Or I could say, give me the ID. Login user's ID. Perfect. We'll stick with this way for now. What we also want to do is start creating queries. So we want to get all projects, new directory, queries. This is what I do when I'm not doing DDD, by the way. Quick and easy, then I refactor out as and when I need to towards domain-driven design where it makes sense. So projects, we want to fetch projects for team. So public function handle. This is going to have a string team. It is going to return a collection of some description. The Go like this. So fetch projects for team. This is going to return a project query where the team ID is a team passed in, and we're just going to get them. So we could group them by status, but I don't think that's important for an MVP. So we need this query to come into here. Private team query. So from auth, we need to be able to get that. So this index controller is going to need to render, so we can get the response factory from inertia as a response. We can return this response render. The component that we want to render is going to be called projects index. Props that we're going to send across are going to be projects, and that will be coming out of the project resource collection. So the resource itself will be this query handle. The team is this auth guard user current team ID. And that is there. We can worry about caching this later. For an MVP, I won't worry because you don't know if you're actually going to get enough people visiting to make caching worth it at this point. However, what do we also want in here? Because this query is great for what we need, but we might want to include additional relationships on specific groups where we do call this. So we can do a with include. So query handle. What could we possibly want to include from project when we're listing them? Well, we might want the team, but it belongs to that team, so it shouldn't matter. So maybe we're going to get channels. So we can come down here, come down to resources, views, no, JS, pages, projects, and we're going to create an index.view. Template. Authentication. Layer. Got it. Perfect. Fine. Props. I'm not using TypeScript because I'm Steve. So, projects. So this will be an object. Technically, it should be an array, but we'll see. Required is true. So let's go and have a look at this. We've got projects, projects, projects. Excellent. So we just want to be able to display them, really. So let's just grab a quick and dirty UI. Stack list, that'll do. And we're going to go for this. Something like inline with an avatar. Badges and action menu. We'll go for this one. So let's grab this. And what we would do is it's going to look ugly, but I'm just going to drop it in. So then we can grab this, come back up to the top, and just drop it in there. Make sure it loads correctly so we can then fine tune. Perfect. So There's defining all the props. Here's our UL list. Components. I always create container component. It's just me. I usually grab this one because it works well. I can grab that. And I can say template, done. Here's a slot. That'll work. I can grab this and say container. Come back to here. Okay, so what did I break doing that? Index, projects, application, container, menu. Yeah, that should be working. Find props for projects and projects. That'd be why. That is causing the issue. What did I do? I broke something by using that container. Container, components, container. What did I break? Let me go down here. Slot, yes. Container, slot. Oh, template in a template. Here we go. So we got something. We're getting somewhere. So here's our projects. What we're also going to want to do is have like a section header of some description, card heading, page heading, section heading. With action, this looks good to me. Let's grab just the default for now, and we're just going to call this header. All of these, and come down to components, and we're going to create a new header.view. Drop that in there. We are going to wrap this in a section. Let's do that. Setup, no problems. Let's move view to the top. So define props. We are going to want a heading. Which is string. Required is going to be true. Then we're going to want a message of some description. Again, a string required of true. Right, so here's our H3. We can swap that to heading. That message we don't need. What we want is this. New job. Now, fine. Right, let's go and use this here. So scroll down, UL container. Great. Header. So the heading is going to be your projects or your team projects. And the message is going to be take new project. Hyposcript is again doing well. So we will section that class of py6. Come over to this header, drop that section, or the sections into sections. Ugly, format that. For team projects, perfect. Come over to header, and this is going to say project container, application container. There's that part. This part then needs to go into another section. Which will be py6 again. Container and container. No, all resolved. All resolved. Here we go. We're getting somewhere. So, can view a project. It's got a little droppy down menu. Now we just want to swap this from this default data here coming from Tailwind UI to our own. So drop the project statuses. We'll worry about in a little while. Time slots projects. Give it a break. No, it didn't. Excellent. It's all displaying there. Okay, so we are team projects. All that's good. G1 created by. Awesome. We can sort out how this looks now. Project's got a name. Project's got a status. So if we just open up status, we've got active and inactive. Here we've got active, inactive, all active. That's good. Due date. I don't know if we've got any sort of date going on with our. This is where TypeScript is handy, but I don't really get TypeScript, if I'm completely honest. So we got a name, a status. That is all we've got. That's all we need. You gotta go. Oh wow, it's that time. Yeah. Okay. Wow. I'll be out in 2 seconds.
Okay.
Sorry, my wife's going to go on the school run, so I'm going to have to call it a day there, and we will pick this up tomorrow. So thank you very much. I will see you all tomorrow. Have a good time. Have a good day. Have a good evening. See you all tomorrow, 10 a.m. or 10:30 a.m. I'll double check and tweet about it. Toodaloo.